Today is June 8th, and it is my 35th birthday. I'm Justice, and I run and own Fuzz Imp, and I was going to do some reflecting on the company and thinking about it, really the starting of the company and really this whole trajectory of making pedals and being really interested in fuzz pedals started when I was turned 30. I had kind of spent a lot of time in my 20s figuring out direction in life, job stuff, made a few career changes, and I really wanted to get back into YouTube and content creation, so I had started making demos in 2020. And around my birthday, I had decided I was going to collect 50 fuzz pedals that year. I hadn't started making pedals yet, but at the end of 2020, going into 2021, I built a pedal kit, and that circuit is actually really close to what's in the Bonfire pedal. It's a one knob like Doom Fuzz thing, and I built a version of that circuit, and it got me totally hooked, and I sold everything and started Fuzz Imp. And originally it was called Fuzzimp, which was actually the name of my pedal fan channel, which was just, I thought, a really cool thing. But as we get into our 30s and time goes on, I think just my priorities as a person has changed a lot, and I've been reflecting on that, thinking about my goals moving forward, personal goals, company goals, life stuff. In my 20s, I was pretty erratic and just kind of trying to figure out how life worked. I wouldn't say that that's completely over. That's definitely still a factor. I think for everybody, we're all just trying to get by in our own ways. But I think one of my bigger regrets in my 20s is that I didn't spend more time on my music. Like, I had been making YouTube videos, been making solo music, but I got a little distracted, I felt like, especially in my later 20s. I was partying too much, dealing with a lot. And so as I got a little bit older, okay, I want to get really back into this music thing. I want to take this music thing seriously, do more with it. And I think that led me to here. And even since starting the company, when I started making pedals was during the shutdowns. And it was the perfect time to start a pedal company. I didn't know this at the time. I wish I had started even earlier. But just with everybody kind of reinventing themselves, spending a lot more time getting back into music, into hobbies, it aligned perfectly with the timing, and everyone was snagging tons of stuff, especially kind of being like a low medium price point. It felt like I was able to kind of build up on it, and it was really cool. It still is really cool. I'm actually more excited now about the future direction of the company. I know I've made some talking videos recently talking about tariffs, talking about kind of hardships in the industry, but realistically, Fuzzimp is in one of the best positions it's been in a long time. When I first started, I was pretty much keeping pace with orders as they came in. I was ordering parts, keeping a pretty tight turnaround, around a week or two. But as time went on and more and more orders came in, and I was still working on a made to order, so that means like every order is a pre-order. They kind of stack up. I take the money as it comes in, buy the parts, build a bunch, ship a bunch. And then I'm usually behind by a week or two, but in that first year, I learned pretty quickly just with the order flow. So, for example, we're in June right now, and this just happened again. So my best sales week of the year was the last week of May of this year, right? And the following week is a pretty slow week. So coming into June, first week of June, is a lot slower. So what happened in 2021 is I'm cooking with gas. Things are just taking off like a rocket. It's like if it was a stock, it'd be going to the moon. The orders are going crazy. I'm buying all the gear late May and all this stuff, and then the summer hits and it's like a total reset. And at that time I had decided, because the company was still called Fuzzimp at this point, and the website was a little messy. I had too many models for the size of company that I was, and it was laid out really confusing. It was like this big long menu. And so I was like, you know what? And I'm not super stoked on the name, so I made it Fuzz Imp based off some recommendations from friends. I kind of refurbished and retooled the thing, and I created the Machina pedal, which I still make a version of, which is also what the creature pedal is based on. I know I just talked about this and in a recent video, and I showed Machina 2 and Creature. This one is so cool though, man. I love this graphic. So this original center graphic is what the kind of led into the original graphic is very close to what this is, and it was one of my first graphics that I myself created from scratch. At the time, I had been working with different artists to create things like the Bonfire art, the Shroot fan art, different stuff like that, but I really wanted to take a stab at doing it myself, and I really like how this art turned out, and so that's one of the things that I did. And you know, it kind of started a new trajectory, but I'm excited. I feel like I'm a little more chill than I used to be. I feel like as I get older, I slow down and try to make decisions a little more carefully. I plan a little better. So like I was talking about earlier with the pre-order model, now I'm basically caught up. I don't take on any orders that I know I can fill every single order. So I'm not taking on orders not knowing how many boards I have, if I can get cases or knobs or parts. Like I used to just kind of leave everything open, running all the time, and just take on as many orders as I could get. But what I learned is that that can be kind of a trap, and you can get behind, and a lot of the things that other companies deal with, especially a smaller company, you can get really overwhelmed, especially if you're pretty early to doing it full time like I was, and I still am in some ways. But anyway, I just felt like it was worth reflecting on some of these things on my life so far. I think moving forward, some of my goals, I think getting healthier, getting a little more in shape, I think that's been something that I've talked about in the past, especially around a birthday. It's like, okay, I'm a little older now, I need to take my life and my time a lot more seriously. And I think it's one of those things that a lot of people start realizing. I want to get a new place. So right now, staying with the folks, kind of doing a reset, saving up, having my own place and a new shop that's specifically dedicated towards the pedal building. Maybe thinking about, bringing in a lot more stable side income to ride out the ebbs and flows. I've talked about this in the past. I do have, thankfully, some side jobs that I can do to help with that. But I think just bringing it all together, keeping all the company money inside the company has been really helpful. And I've even been taking money from outside the company and bringing it in to kind of boost and jumpstart a lot of stuff. Anyway, a little rambly, but this is what I wanted to say. It's my birthday today, and I just want to talk about pedals. I'm really excited, actually. I found a guy. So I live in Amity, is where the Amity pedal, which you definitely should check out. Amity is a really small town in Oregon, kind of south of Portland, near Salem. It's a little town. I'm on Marketplace yesterday morning, and I see a guy with a telly. I'm collecting tellies this year, is like my random thing that I decided. And so I'm looking at this guy's profile, and I see, number one, the guitar's in Amity, which is a town of 1,700, really small town. And his backdrop photo is all pedals. I was like, oh, so I just was like, hey, this is me, this is what I do. If you want to trade for that, let me know. And he hits me back, and he's like, oh my gosh, my wife got me a Shroot. And I remember this story because I get the order in. This is probably in 2021 or 2022. I get the order in, and I see that it's an Amity address. And I don't know if they just didn't realize that I also lived there. Like, it probably took me more time to walk to the post office and them to route it around than it did if they had just like, here, we'll swing by. So anyway, he's getting an Amity pedal and a Sender 5 for the telly, and I'm really excited about it. But it was just cool to bring that full circle, the odds of someone from my town. Like, this isn't my hometown, it's not where I was born, but it's where the company was born. So when I moved here immediately, I think within the first day, I was building pedals. It was right around the time I decided to start making pedals really seriously. And it was my first time having my own apartment. It was really cool. The overhead was a little much when things slowed down, but and I moved to Portland to help a roommate save up to move out of state with his fiance. So I lived there for a year. I really enjoyed that. It's really cool to meet some people and do some things in kind of the cultural epicenter of Oregon. And then last year around this time, I moved back to Amity and with the folks saving up, trying to get, kind of set up. But anyway, it's been a journey, and I want to thank everybody who's been along. There's a lot of people who follow me who have been around since the early days. And for all the new people who are just getting to know what Fuzzimp is all about and know who I am, I really appreciate you. And I hope you have a really good weekend, really good day. And check out fuzzimp.com. I'm excited that this is how my day is going, and I hope you have a good one. See ya.